So sometimes when I tell people that I've lived in northern Sweden and that I play beach volleyball, they go like, What do you mean? Can you even play beach volleyball there? And they get surprised and whatnot. And I'm like, yes, we do have summer there, and we also have an indoor facility. But not only is it possible to play there, it's actually for many years been a great place to start playing. And we even have a few ex-Olympians, beach volleyball Olympians there. And so obviously, since I'm there, I started this podcast. Of course, I have to interview these ex-Olympians. So today we have Björn Berg on the podcast. He's played in 2 Olympics in 2000 and 2004. And I've learned a lot from him over the years. And he's been around. I've watched him, analyzed him, played against him, played with him, learned from him, had conversations with him, with this being one of them. It was funny. I asked him, hey, would you want to be on the podcast? And he said, yes, fine. And then I was like, okay, can we do it maybe soon-ish? And then one day he was just like, can we take a walk and make a podcast? And I was like, I don't know. I've never done that before. I've never heard anyone doing that, but I guess I have this microphone set up that we could have like some cables hanging between us and take a walk. So that's what we end up doing. We took a walk around the lake and discussed beach volleyball. And so yes, there is the audio is fine. There's some steps in the background, like you can hear that we're on a walk. So actually I'm gonna say that, why don't you take a walk when you listen to this? Maybe it will make you feel like you're taking a walk with us. Obviously, I like listening to this podcast while I do other stuff and being productive, like in a double way at the same time. And me and Björn were for sure this when we recorded this episode, and why don't you do the same when you listen to it? We covered a lot of different topics. We talked about basically what he learned from his career and some of the things he thought was very important. And we talked smart attacking, and we talked longevity, how to be able to play for a long time. And we also talk some sports psychology. So there's a lot of interesting stuff in this episode. I think most everyone will find something interesting in it. I do have to say that since it was a walk around the lake, like there was some stuff that happened. Like we met Björn's son. He almost wanted to follow us. We had to tell him no. And some other stuff. So there's going to be some breaks here and there. But I edited it so that it will make sense anyway. All right, I'm Alex, the host of the show, and let's get started.
You know, I read some research some years ago about people. There's something about walking. You actually think better. Your brain works better, so it's actually good for conversations.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that's how we built. I think we are built to. What do you say in English? We are nomads.
Yeah,
is that the same word? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we are built to walk. For millions of years, we were walking. Mm-hmm. That was the natural thing to do, you know. So that's why. That's why we are thinking better during walking, because it was important to think in a good way. When we were moving. I don't know.
That's a nice theory. Did you just make that up?
Yeah, it just came to me. I mean, it has to be like that, don't you think?
That's the stuff that happens when you walk. There was some CEO of some big company. He never had meetings without a walk. Mm-hmm. He never had sitting meetings.
Yeah.
Because he thought the meetings always get better if they.
I mean, it releases some tensions in you when you walk, and you be able to get in a more relaxed mood, maybe, or something.
Exactly.
And you feel more creative also. And then when we speak, my son is heading to us. No. He's coming from school. Tjena!
Björns son is here.
Ja, och ser du vad konstiga vi är?
Okay, that's what happens when you take a walk. You meet your son on the way.
Yeah, well, it could happen. I'm fortunate to live in a good place in this city. I'm living near Nydalarsjön. That's the lake we're walking just beside here right now, and my son is going to school just around the corner here. So
he didn't know you were supposed to record a podcast today.
No, he didn't know, but he's kind of interested in everything that.
Jag får inte spela förrän klockan 4.
Ja, men...
Okay, interruption too.
Yeah.
Anyway, I've ever since hearing this thing about the CEO, I've started thinking about that, and I actually get more out of listening to podcasts when I walk myself or do some sort of light physical activity.
Yeah, it makes sense. It feels like more relaxed, and it feels like you don't even think about this is going to be broadcast in some way. We're just walking here and have a talk together.
Exactly. Yeah, I think there's something natural in walking and talking or listening to conversations, which I hope someone will be listening to this.
Yeah.
Anyway, I've done some research for this episode here. I've looked you up on Wikipedia.
Okay.
And it says you played in 2 Olympics. You've been ranked number 1 in Sweden between 1996 and 2008. You've been in 14 Swedish Beach Tour final. No, you won 14 Swedish Beach Tour finals. And you're still playing within the top of Sweden at 48 years old. Does that sound?
Yeah, well, it sounds. I can agree with that. It's been a ride. It's. I love this thing, and once you love doing something, you want to continue as long as possible.
That makes sense.
That's maybe why.
Yeah, makes absolute sense. And I really much hope that I will be playing this sport a long time too, because I love it as well. I did love snowboarding as well that I did before, but I came to realize that it wasn't so, in a way, sustainable with my body. But I think this sport might be better for continuing.
Yeah, I mean, you can do it in so many levels. This sport. If it was about run as fast as possible or jump as high as possible, that's limited. It's you reach your peak physically, and you break your record, and then you fade. And of course, the physique, the body is declining according to age. Of course, it is like that. But you can still be able to play at your level. And it's not that really obvious, in beach volleyball that you're declining physically. You can always cover that with a partner that do stuff like blocking or things, and you can also see the play and be able to stand on the right place. So in that way you can still be able to play on a good level, even if you're not jumping that high anymore or run that fast anymore.
Do you feel like a wise, smart guy in between a bunch of stupid younger guys that are trying to?
I wouldn't say like that. Of course, I try to be smart and try to use smartness and things. I don't really have a choice, actually. I have to be because if I'm just try to overpower guys on the court. I cannot do it anymore, you know.
Did you used to play a more overpowering way of playing?
Well, yeah. Well,
a less smart one.
Well, I always try. I will think I I try to be smart every time I played, even when I was younger. But you know, I think that's the law of nature. I mean, you use your the way of that you're able to do. You do. It's as I say. I mean, it's not possible to run around like hell and jump really high and hit really hard all the time. So I got to use the other skills, you know.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense. And I have a lot of questions for you about these things that we're gonna talk about as well. But first, I want to ask you, what do you think? So you had a fair amount of success. You've been in the Olympics twice and whatnot. What do you think is different? What's the difference between you and others who didn't? Is it that you love the sport and that made you keep going? You know.
I think the answer you're gonna get from me might be my strange.
Might be your what?
My strange. My thing that differs, and saying that is actually how can I explain it? It's like the opposite of telling that I have a strange, because I think I had quite a big desire to do this. That's like the bottom of everything. I wanted to do it, and I lived it, and I wanted it so much, so I trained a lot, and which is I mean, it's, you have to train a lot to be able to do good things on the court, on the beach volleyball course. But I also
Someone's passing us.
I think I saw the need of cooperate with a partner.
Okay.
To lift the partner, to be able to work as a team, do things together, because beach volleyball is never an individual sport. You always, the result is depending on what you create together with another guy. What you create, what you manage to do together is the result. And your question is, what's your strength? What differs you from other guys, and so on. And I would love to say that it is the team thing that's important, and I think I saw that really early.
Okay, so early in your career, you saw that I'm not alone. Basically, I'm doing this with someone else.
I mean, I think I had a big ego as well, you know. I wanted to do it, but I realized that I cannot do it by myself. I have to do it with someone. And to feed my ego to win, I have to
figure out how to
figure out to do it with someone else. And if that's if I have to step back sometimes and listen to someone else, I have to do it. So I think it's a good lesson, not only to be able to play beach volleyball. I think it's a lesson for life as well.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, we don't get far without the help of others.
No, I mean, it's not that easy to do things alone in this world.
No, it's not. So does that mean that you quite early in your career started to look for lessons on how to collaborate better with people and your partners?
Well, I'm not. When I look back, it's not that I read science and stuff like that. You know, I just think that I did it because it was good.
So you started figuring out on your own.
Yeah.
By trying things and
I didn't do everything right on the journey. I did a lot of mistakes, but of course I did. But when I look back, I might have done something right.
Do you want to give some good and bad examples?
Well, of course. I mean, the classic thing in beach volleyball that you always blame your partner, and there is a little competition between you and your partner, who has delivered, who has not, and who has. I did my thing, but you didn't. Okay, and we lost. Okay, I mean that's a classical thing, you know. Of course, we all fall into that trap. But in the end of the day, you win. You win as a team. You lose as an individual, as someone said, and that's very obvious in beach volleyball, I think.
So wait, you win as a team. That makes sense. You lose as an individual.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Well, I mean, if you separate yourself from your partner, and see the game in like parts. I did that, you did that, I did 5 blocks, and you missed side out, and I did not miss my side out. I mean, that's because we lost, okay? But it's never like that, because it's like the game is like a unit, you know.
Yeah.
It's not separate. So you're always dependent on your partner, and your partner is always dependent on you.
Absolutely.
And I think that's a good way of seeing it, the game. Of course, when you're in training, and so you want to develop your own skills and look at yourself, what kind of weaknesses you have, and build up yourself individual. That's has its place, but when it comes to the game, and of course, I in my career I was with one partner for such a long time, so we developed things together. I wasn't running around and playing with different guys. I was playing with Simon for such a long time.
Yeah.
So that makes sense. That we was a unit.
Absolutely.
It was a team, like.
How many years did it feel until you had like really good sync on the court?
With Simon?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many years did you guys play together?
I mean, we played for 8 years in a row. And then we had that was like the career. We started up on a domestic level, and then we ended up in the Olympics. And then we had a break, and then we came back together for 2 years, playing just in Sweden. That was like the retirement get together thing. Yeah. So in total it was 10 years. And that was another aspect of playing with each other, which was really nice, to come together and just enjoy playing. But what was your question again?
If you had good and bad examples of...
that was the question before.
Okay, did I have a question? The question was, like, how long did you play together? You just answered that.
Yeah.
But how long did it take until you guys felt like you were really in sync on the court?
Yeah, well, it was the sync on the court was. We had a good chemistry, I would say, even though we were guys that was not that. What do you say? Similar guys. So I mean, we got along good. We did, but we were different. I mean, we
in life.
In life.
Right?
I mean, according to interests and according to what to do in between and stuff. But I think we both had a desire to do it, to win. So when we came to the court, we realized that the thing I was telling you before, the team thing, we realized that, hey, we are so dependent on each other. So we came together and did this together. And then we could walk from the court, and outside the court, we respect each other that we were different. But on the court, there was 100% a team. There were examples that we were fed up with each other. Of course we were. We spent over 200 days together per year. So of course you get fed up with a person that you spend so much time with.
Yeah.
But when it came down to game time, to important things on the court, we had a good chemistry. We have that. You can call it professionalism or whatever, but we were so alone, so dependent on each other that we had no choice but stick together. And that was really strong. That was a strong feeling. There was a strong team thing together. And that sync was kind of a nice thing to look back at.
Definitely. Did it take a long time to build that, or did you have it?
I wouldn't say it's like we have a plan to build up a good sync. We didn't have that kind of plan. It was just something that came up to us, actually. But we also realized that that we had this good thing. It's kind of weird situation playing beach volleyball as we did. We went from Sweden, lived in California, lived in Brazil. And we were dependent on each other, not only on the court. I mean, that's a kind of a thing, just being on the other side of the world, and you have to fix with many things just to get life going. So it was like we were like brothers, and brothers fight, you know. Sometimes.
I need to interrupt you.
Yeah.
We need to take a selfie here.
That's great.
We need a picture for this episode.
Yeah.
I think
Such
people
a great.
need to see this.
Should we do like that? Or?
Yeah. You have the phone.
Yeah.
And I think this setup we have here looks kind of funny. So. Okay, cover picture for the episode fixed. Now, do you have any specific things that you know you did that you think made you better at playing or syncing with your partner, having that collaboration? Do you have any? You know, sometimes people do specific things like okay, now I actually need to have this conversation. Now I actually need to.
I mean, the bottom line, you got to be really honest. You got to be able to. I mean, you have to have a great confidence to be able to confess weaknesses.
Yeah.
Kind of. And I think that's something that we learned, me and Simon, pretty early, to confess your own weakness. And that, I think that was a power in itself. To for example, to tell, I mean, going up early in the morning, having a practice, and you realize that you're tired, and you'll be able to see that, to be able to, oh, I'm not on my toes, I'm not delivering good training, and then tell your partner, I'm sorry, guy, I'm a little bit down.
Yeah.
Okay, I tried to do my best, but I'm down. Okay, instead of not telling anything, be silent and not deliver.
Yeah.
And tell them, no, I'm okay, like that. It's like taking a step back. I mean, we do this together, and to be honest and confess weaknesses, that's something that makes you grow, and in the end, that's a great power, I think.
Absolutely. It's very Swedish to not say.
No, it's like
just say that you're fine. And
no, I'm fine. It's okay. Let's go. I mean, it's not always let's go. It's sometimes you face really tough situations, and when you're not on your toes, and you're not good. And I think those situation is the most important situation to grow from.
Yes.
And I think me and Simon, not always, but I think we most of the times were able to confess those situations for each other. And that was a really good thing in between us.
I think one can look at those instances when that happens, when you have something that you should say, but you don't. It's kind of hard to say. Like every time you say those things, it's like an opportunity to practice that. And once you do it more and more and more, it gets easier and easier.
And I think that's not really easy when you're young and you have a big ego and you want to do this and I'm good, you know. It's like, oh, I want to be a cool guy.
Yeah.
That's a tough thing, you know. And you learn by times goes by a little bit of this, but we were pretty good at that even when we were young, I think.
Yeah, that's cool. You know Mark, the guy that was here a couple of years ago that I practiced with?
Yeah.
One of the reasons I like practicing with him so much is that I feel like we were able to talk about this kind of shit, like just anything. And it was just good to be able to be like, okay, today I want to do this because of this, what do you think? You know, we just discuss things together. But one thing I feel, I think it's somewhat easy to get this with one person, you know, if you have a long-time partner or whatever.
Yeah.
But then it's even harder with big groups.
Yeah.
Because there it's like even more people that you should have.
Yeah, it's tougher to do it when there's a lot of people involved, because then you get even more exposed for your so-called weakness or whatever you want to call it. So, of course. But it's also like a show-off thing, you know. You think your beach volleyball is an interesting sport when it comes to situations on the court when you're playing games and you're coming in situation where you're under pressure, because you're so dependent. Once again, you're so dependent on your partner. You're so in need of help from your partner. Indirect. How do you set me so I can kill the ball? How do you create a situation where you feel confident so you can do certain things? so you dare to try to do things so you can reach your full potential. So it's I think this is a topic I'm kind of interested in. So create an environment together that it's okay to do mistakes and reach your potential together.
Just the other day I was listening to a podcast with Anders Moll and Christian Sorum, and they said something like, we're both here and they both trust that the other person is doing their best. So there's no point in blaming the other one when he makes mistakes or doesn't run for a ball or whatever. And that creates, I think, as you say, a better environment where because everyone knows they just made a mistake when they made a mistake. But if you have to deal with making a mistake and getting blame from the other partner, then that just, in a sense, doubles the burden you have to carry.
I mean, I see the sport has developed. I'm not on the tour anymore on the highest level, but when I see games with these guys, I think that's something that's really developed since I was on the world tour.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, the guys are good, you know, when it comes to treat their partners. In my time, you could see horrible things, you know, in between in between partners.
Okay.
I mean, giving the evil eye and even yell and scream at each other and blaming the stuff, you know. It was terrible.
Yeah.
So the sport hasn't just developed when it comes to hit hard and jump high. I think it's something
also developed.
Yeah, that's I haven't really looked in like close to those guys, but it seems like that when I see games, you know.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, whatever you need to do to get better, people are gonna figure out sooner or later.
Yeah.
I think just like you said about when you get older, you need to find new ways or whatever.
Yeah.
And competition gets tougher. You need to figure out all the small details that makes you better at the game. It's kind of cold out here.
Yeah, I mean, the winter is coming.
It is.
Coming at us.
It is.
Finally.
Finally.
You cannot do anything about it.
No.
We are heading to darkness and coldness.
I guess so. So, as I said before, there's two topics specifically that we talked about that we should probably talk about in this podcast. One is smart attacking, and the other one is longevity, like how to basically be able to play when you get older.
Yeah.
Which one do you want to start with?
Well, it's smart attacking. The beach volleyball is we can start with smart attacking, or
let's do that.
You call it smart attacking, so we
Would you want to call it something else?
Well, it's like smart attacking means attack in a way that you win the ball, I guess.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Yeah.
And I guess that can mean that if you're, 2 meters, 10 centimeters, and jump super high,
you should definitely stay to be that tall and be able to use your skills.
Exactly.
But smart attacking is not everybody is 2 meters and jump high, you know.
No.
But we're still in this sport, and you see so many examples that are able to be a factor on the really highest level. I mean, I played with a guy that was 183 and was still in the highest level in the world, Simon, and you still see guys that not that really tall.
Absolutely.
And those guys are smart, of course. I would consider them to be more smart than the guys that really tall and hit hard and high.
Absolutely.
Because they have to. So even though I'm not a really small guy, I'm 196. I like to look at those so-called small guys that's smart. Because there you have the guys that you can learn from.
Did you study them a lot?
Well, I like to study those guys because they use finesse and smartness to win. And I think that's the you have the area where you can learn most of.
Yeah, absolutely.
And how do you be smart?
Yeah, what people did you study or get inspired from? Or?
Of course, you can study different players and pick parts. You cannot really copy one player. That's impossible. So you should pick up things from different players, of course, and then see what you have on your own skills, you know. And then create your own style. But there is certain things that you always could do. I told you the other day about showing one thing and do the other. I mean the court are 8 meter long and 8 meter wide. So you always, most of the time you have one side or the other side, you should attack the ball.
Like line or cross.
When it comes to attacking, yeah. So show one thing, do the other thing. It's very simple. So be able to use a technique to show one thing and do the other thing, it's very effective.
And there was another part to that yesterday or whenever it was when you told me that, which was you said something like people think that, okay, then they're just going to figure out I'm always doing the opposite of what I'm showing. But you said it still doesn't work like that because then you can still see that, okay, now they're starting to cheat and going that way.
Yeah, of course. But if you develop a technique that show one thing, do the other thing, you have the possibilities. How can we talk about this? How can we theorize a technique in a podcast?
That's a good question.
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean,
you can try to explain with words and pictures.
Yeah, I mean, show one thing, do another thing. When it comes to attacking, I think doing your wrist is very important. To be able to use the wrist to put the ball on either one or the other side.
Okay, a very last millisecond movement of your wrist?
A very last second movement, but it is. I mean, that's a small part of your arm. The wrist is putting the ball either this side or the other side. I think if you try to be too big with all your arm doing the direction of the ball, it's getting too obvious.
It's too easy for the blocker to read.
Yeah, both the blocker and also the defender, it's getting too obvious. So the wrist is the magical thing to show one thing and do the other, I think.
Yeah.
So, I mean, talking about the technical part and how you be able to, it's such a big thing if you break it down. You know? It comes to how to get the position before to reach the ball, and how you put your legs together and jump, and how straight you are in the body and stuff like this. You know?
Yeah, that's probably more for a video than a podcast.
Yeah.
There's so I hope you don't get offended by this, but there's one thing that some years ago when I looked at you play, you know, sometimes there's this theory that you should always jump like you're gonna spike, and then sometimes you shoot instead.
Yeah.
But it's almost like, I thought when you play, it's almost like you go for it like you're gonna shoot every time, but then instead sometimes you can still hit.
Yeah.
Does that? Have you ever thought about that?
That's because you maybe you studied me and watched me when I was old a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
So I couldn't really be explosive. It might be like that.
But it's pretty cool that you can still, even though you're not jumping like you're gonna jump, you know, over something very high, like you're not having this huge approach with super big arm swings and stuff.
Yeah.
You can still get up and you can still put speed in the ball.
Yeah.
And you can still put. It's like there's enough speed on the ball and in enough angles that the defenders can't get it.
Yeah, but it might be, as I told you, the wrist, the hand, like putting the ball, putting some speed at the ball, you know, and I developed the latest years, you know. I developed the game style of. I cannot really like overpower the guys and jump that high and stuff like this. So I have to. I think I just move the ball little wider, little in between. Just enough to win the ball, you know. And I could do that by putting the ball a little bit in between and beside, just because of maybe the hand move in the last second, in the last microsecond. And also I think that maybe my experience and stuff like this realized to know on this level where people think I'm gonna put the ball, and then I put the ball like 1 meter beside that or something. Yeah. It's not really convincing kill, but still it's a win.
Yeah, that makes sense. Now, do you analyze defenders in a sense, like what, you know, if they tend to cheat, if they tend to stay still, if they tend to be more in one place than another, and like attack according to that, or do you just know, like, in general, what seems to work with most people?
My mindset is more like. You could say that I studied them, but I think that it's like it's a mind game kind of. I mean, if I've used one type of shot like 2-3 times and a lot, I think people expect this from me. So then I do something else. It's like it's not really that I overthink the thing. It's more like I have a feeling of we should do like this. When it comes to tactic, it's more like I cannot really tell you where it's come from. If it comes from experience or really studying, or say, I just have a feeling that this is going to happen, or this is we are in a situation where things falling on this side to people is gonna do this, or I cannot really explain it, but
I would guess.
I guess that's a kind of a thing that helped me because I'm not. When you look, people always when they want to be mean at me, they tell me, you don't have this, you don't have this, you don't have this, you don't have this, but still you win, you know. You don't have a jump, you don't have arm swing, you don't. Okay, you have a pretty good reception. Okay, I can give you that, but you don't have like that and that and that and that. Okay.
Yeah. But there's still something that makes you win.
What happened? You won anyway.
Yeah. I suppose the critique doesn't hit you too hard.
No, I can see that. I mean, that makes sense that the people say that, but I don't see it as a criticism. I see it as a compliment, you know. So that's how stupid I am. But I don't know. It's like more fascinating, I think.
Yeah.
And it tells you a little bit about, and that's like, if it was like everyone that has the best arm swing and the best jump always win, then it would be no fun, you know.
That's true.
And this opened up for so many different people to be able to play this sport, you know.
Yeah, because it's a full game competition and not just a physical.
And that's only the thing that you're talking about, the individual part, and then you have to set it together with another guy. The thing we were talking about in the beginning.
Yeah.
So that makes it so multi complicated, which is fascinating and really nice.
Absolutely, definitely. One thing I've noticed when we practice together is that it seems like you're putting a lot of value in being able to hit a certain spot on the court from basically any position.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Well, yeah.
Like no matter if the set is good or bad, or left side, right side, you should always be able to hit the corner in there.
Yeah, I think because people tend to do a certain thing just because where the ball is getting to you. That's a limited way of playing, I think. I mean, if you get the set like over here, it's going to be a hit cross court.
Yeah.
If it's going to be inside here, you always shoot line. And that, when it comes to when you study a player, that's going to be really easy to defend if a guy do like that. And people tend to do that, you know, when they get. So if you're able to practice, as you said. Doesn't matter where the ball is getting to you, you should be able to put the ball everywhere. And if you train like putting the ball on the line, okay, then you should do it on the line, even though you get the inside set, even though you get an outside set, or off the net or whatever, you know.
Makes sense.
So I think that's a good way of practice.
Yeah, definitely, that makes a lot of sense. And it connects well with the thing you also said the other day, which is when the set is perfect and situation is perfect, fine, you can do whatever you want. But when it's not, which is most of the time, you need to be unpredictable.
Yeah, and that's a situation you should practice on. Let's say you have 10 opportunities to kill the ball. 5 of those you're perfect, you'll be fine whatever you do. And then it comes down to 3 of those are semi-difficult situations. Then you get challenged. Then the percent of killing the ball is less. You should practice on those. And then you have these other 2 times, which is really hard situations. Then you get trapped and you're gonna fail, you're gonna miss the ball or whatever. So that's the ones you're gonna practice on.
Also the ones that are almost impossible.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And that's one way of looking at it. And that's okay. If I would describe my way of playing, so of course, I think when I was at my best and when I did good things, I was able to limited those situations, you know. We
limit the situation.
Yeah, limit those errors, those percentage where when you fail, when the opponents pick up your balls, you know. So it's a game of mistakes. If you can limit it, those mistakes is good, you know.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes complete sense. Is there something else you think you do smart in the game that people miss?
It's not really any secrets there. It's like I think in my mind there is not much going on, and that might be a good thing. I think it's I think I'm pretty resistant on these external things going on.
Yeah. So you don't get so distracted by.
I don't get distracted. I think I'm not getting distracted. I think I'm not. I don't care too much. I don't care too much what people think, what people have an opinion and stuff like this. And that might be an advantage sometimes.
Yeah. Definitely. Is that something you always had, or did you train it?
I wouldn't say I've trained it, but I've been aware of it though. That's why I'm telling you all it right now. But I think I'm aware of it, and it's been obvious to me when people spoke to me, or even though I see replays of games, because it's kind of weird. Sometimes I had this feeling that I have a positive feeling, you know. It's like I've been doing good. I had a picture in my mind what's happening. And that's really what counts, you know. What picture you have inside of you. It's been good. I've been doing good stuff, and then I've been looking at myself and say, God, this wasn't that good. So I didn't want to see myself afterwards.
Okay.
Because that makes you worse. Because it doesn't matter what happened. I mean, if you have a picture that everything is all right, it's good.
Okay, so we're having an adventure here with traffic in the background and everything. I hope people can still hear this. But you said something, you clarified just in Swedish, something about Federer and someone else that was the same level as him.
Yeah, I just heard an example what happened with Roger Federer in his service game, putting the ball in the court in the serve. It was something that he wanted to develop, and there was this other guy that was equal to Federer to serve, and after every practice they had a picture of what happened on the practice, and the other guy was very critical and was focusing on what to improve, and had a mindset that was
looking for errors.
This wasn't good. He was looking for the errors, and Federer was focusing on what he did good, and created like a picture in him that it was good. It was good, and focus on the good things. And then they went on different directions in the game, and Federer was the best in the world and served like hell, you know.
What's up, Alex here with a little interruption. I want to talk to you about a concept about the 3 good things that happened to you today. So right now Björn is talking about Federer and how he basically saw positives in his practice, is the gist of it, kind of. During our break, we actually were speaking in Swedish, so I can't put that into the podcast because you guys probably won't understand it. Anyway, but he shared something in Swedish that he kind of missed in English, which was that apparently Federer had this like, name 3 good things that happened about the practice today, or about his serve, or whatever it might be. Just like think about 3 good things that went well. And I do think so. Recently I watched a movie, and I've read some positive psychology, like happiness research stuff before also. And in this movie, this idea was there again. So basically the idea is to every day, in the end of the day, like just name 3 good things that happened to you today. And supposedly this is supposed to like wire your brain to basically just see good things more often, like, because life is a combination of good and bad things that happen to us. But if we learn to pay extra attention to the good things and maybe slightly less to the bad things, overall our experience will be nicer and happier, possibly. At least some research seems to suggest that. So I think just this concept in general is a cool one. I'm happy that people share it to me, so I'm sharing it to you. And yeah, it's kind of cool, I think, to think about applying that to sports also. I don't know if I've ever done that, but I'm gonna start doing that now. Next time I play beach volleyball, I'm gonna sit down and think about 3 good things that happened during that game or that practice. Anyway, let's get back to the episode.
So there was a parallel to what I think I sometimes had in my mind when I was playing, and how I look at myself. It is like sometimes I had a really positive picture of myself.
Like almost ignorantly.
Well, and I don't want to say I'm cocky or whatever. Sometimes I've been anyway, but that's another story.
Yeah.
It's like having a positive picture of yourself. It helps you, and why shouldn't you?
True.
It's like that's something that you are master of. I mean, no one can decide what to think about yourself.
That's true. Yeah.
That's your own chief. And you should take the opportunity to be your chief and decide what's good about you. So
yeah, it's funny. I have a friend who might listen to this podcast, but we talked about serve receive once, and he had noticed that people that almost have this like ignorance of how bad they are at serve receive tend to sort of serve receive better.
Yeah. Yeah, and serve reception is such a huge self-confidence thing. And yes. I would say that's if you're just pick up one thing in the game that has with confidence, it's about serve reception. And as you say, you can have a terrible technique and stuff like this, but still the ball is getting to the right position.
Yeah.
And it's about like a picture. You should have a picture in yourself. Here's another guy that's played beach volleyball. Tjena.
Hey. That was a long time since I saw him.
Yeah.
A very famous coach just ran against us.
The famous coach, Isak Hermansson, if someone know him. So, well, it might be not so easy to just tell people that you should have a positive picture of yourself, but you should not allow yourself to think negative of yourself, because that's self-destroying. And I think I've been pretty good at that. I've lost a bunch of so many games, so many matches. And if you let yourself down and think you're bad, that's not gonna help you. You should learn from losing games, but not let you down mentally.
Yeah, that's true.
And I cannot explain why it's been like that with me. I cannot explain it, but I realized that it might be a thing for me.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Maybe I'm stupid or something. I don't know.
I think some people, we always have different things from our childhoods, and maybe this is something that you had, maybe someone else didn't have, but I think everything can be developed. But I think there's always value in just knowing that something, you know.
But it wasn't like that for me anyway, because I have a mother that whatever happens, something could be better.
Okay. Maybe you reacted against her so much that you...
I don't know. But that's how she is. I don't know.
That's funny.
That's very, very funny. And it could be. I mean, that point could be good to have anyway. I mean, you should never be satisfied in that way. I mean, you should always try to be a little bit more.
Yeah,
when it comes to training and stuff like this, push yourself to the next level.
Yeah.
But you should also be able to be happy about yourself, you know.
Yeah, find balance there. Definitely. Yeah, I think there's sometimes value in hearing what someone is experiencing. Like, I know in the beginning a lot of people told me I need to relax more in service eve, and I was like, I'm trying to relax as much as possible. I can't relax more. But then some years afterwards, when I sort of learned how to relax, then I like recognized the feeling that people had been trying to explain to me, and so I think there's value in.
Yeah, I mean, you might overthought. I mean, you started to play in a relatively late years, and then you've been really focused on technique, and then you thought that technique would be the key to receive good, which it is, but
not 100.
Not overthinking. Mm-hmm. There is a place for really look into technique and do that and correct things, but if you are doing that all the time during the game and stuff, that's not going to be good for you. I think you have to let that go, and then just have a positive picture of doing that and loving what you do and think high of yourself, be able to do that.
Yeah,
kind of.
That makes a lot of sense. Let go of all of that sometimes. Okay, we're getting somewhat close to finishing this around the lake.
Yeah.
But let's go into some of the longevity. You're 48, you're still playing. How did you do that? I'm 31, I still want to be playing in 17 years.
Yeah, I've been lucky to not break any vital parts in my body. Of course, that could have happened, but on the other hand, I've been really. I like training. You know, it's not only beach volleyball, and I think that's become a really important factor when you get up there in age to do different things with your body in training, cardio, be able to increase the movement, the yoga kind of movements in your body as well. And then I've learned a lot of myself and my physics, what's needed, and also not push myself too hard, not go over any that's really important when you get up there in age. And I've been fortunate to also shows when to train and not follow any plan. You have to train tomorrow. Well, if I feel I need maybe a day rest, I do, you know.
Yeah.
So that's a key when you get up there in age. And it helps you not cross any limits.
That makes sense. So.
And also, beach volleyball is also, as we spoke before, it's a game that you can play it when you not push yourself. You can just play a little bit different and not push yourself physically, and then you can like a machine that you're not doing 100% speed all the time. You can just go on at 8% and then you move up to 90% and then 70. Like, plan your power.
Exactly, so that you last over time, and that makes sense. I've sort of seen you do that in longer tournaments. Especially here in Sweden, sometimes the tournaments are kind of long. And I've seen all sorts of tactics of hiding under the blanket and and towels and.
Well, I always been a guy that thinks that I should do everything in between to be able to do 100% on the court. When it comes to sleep, when it comes to rest, preparation, food, stuff like this is that's not an effort for me. I just love it, you know. I just like to live like that.
Okay.
So it's always been like this. Even though I was in my prime, I was really focusing on the stuff. And it's also a mental thing to know that I've been doing everything to be able to perform 100%.
Yeah.
That makes me confident. The thing with sleep has been one big thing for me, to be able to get in bed early, to get up a certain amount of hours before my game and stuff like this, eat properly, right food. Of course, that's a factor now when I'm 48 years old to still be able to perform a bit.
Yeah.
And it's getting more obvious the older you get, of course.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like when you're 20 you can
eat whatever, you can sleep 2 hours and then still play like hell.
Yeah.
It's like that's how it works, you know. And you wanna I'm just fascinated in optimize the body. It's such a great vehicle to work with, you know. So I'm interested in trying new stuff when it comes to training and the way of living. And I know you also sometimes like to go ice bathing and stuff like this, and then do this breathing technique stuff. It's just such a interesting way to still develop.
Yeah.
Even though you're a little bit older.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
there's still areas that unexplored, you know.
Absolutely.
So.
Yeah, we're talking about, I guess, pretty much the Wim Hof method here with the ice baths and the breathing techniques.
Yeah.
And we're not going to have time to explain all of the Wim Hof method, but how do you feel it has helped you? Do you have any?
Yeah, there's some really big wins when you're doing these things. I mean, I feel that my focus, my possibility to really get focused has been helped by doing this deep breathing in combination with getting into really, really cold water, because you don't really have possibilities to run around with your thinking when you're doing those stuff.
No. The cold forces you to focus on the here and now.
It's like impossible. So it helps you to small yourself and what's going on. And that's pretty much what's important when you're standing on the court. So once your mind is getting back and forth and wide and stuff, what's happening, like then you're not performing good, you know. You should be like, those times I've been really good, performing good. It's like afterwards, what the fuck was going on? I don't remember anything.
Yeah, you've been in a bubble.
What was that? It's like I was in the. People say you're in the zone.
Yeah.
But I'm in the zone every morning when I'm doing my ice bath. So that's pretty nice.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't know what's going on in the world.
Even though it's a freaking effort, you know. And that's also a thing, you know. You get some confidence about getting over an obstacle.
Every morning.
Every morning. That makes you confident. So confident. Because nothing is impossible, you know. And if you're been able to do such a great hindrance, such a big effort, so much other things feels easier.
Yeah, I remember when I started my cold showers and ice baths, I read somewhere that like if you do that the first thing in the morning, the rest of the day, everyone you see around you, you know that you've been through some way tougher shit than they have. So like the rest of the day you just feel like Superman because you already did something more difficult than what they're doing right now.
Yeah, okay. You can look at it like that. I don't look like that. I don't look at it like that I want to differ myself to others. But this is more like inside me.
That's true.
For me, it's like that. It's more like inside me. It's like a confident thing that what could be worse? What could be worse? I mean, that's so much in life is comparison with situations. We should appreciate stuff, and we should realize that there is some hard times sitting in the ice bath. I mean, that's hard, you know.
Yeah.
And so it's very easy to appreciate other stuff.
Yeah. So the shit that hits you later in the day is not so bad compared to the ice bath. So.
Yeah. I mean, you can look at it like that. It's hard to explain, but I just try it.
Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah. Makes sense. Okay, I had a funny question here in my questions as well.
Okay.
And this comes from my friend because you were in the newspaper here in Umeå a couple of years ago.
Okay.
Because you had bought a trash can for your ice bath.
Yes.
And it made it sound like it was your invention. So my friends told me to claim this back and ask you who was the first one with the trash can ice can.
Of course, I mean, you were my inspiration to buy a trash can. Even though I think I took it a little bit further than you did, but you were the one that started it. I admit that. I have no problem with that. It was great idea, and a very creative way of be able to do ice bath every morning.
Yeah.
And the trash can is getting out there now because the lake is getting closed now with the ice.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So you cannot get in there.
Because normally you go in this lake every morning.
Yeah, I do. And just a couple of minutes now, we're heading to the place that I used to bath. With the beach volleyball course here.
Absolutely. That's right. Because you know who Tony Robbins is?
Tony Robinson.
Yeah, Tony Robbins. It's like this personal development guy. Anyway, he's super rich, and he has this cold bath in his yard. You know, a cool down bath. But obviously, I don't have the money to have that.
Okay.
But I was like, how can I make a ghetto version of this? And I realized I'm living in the winter in Sweden. I have a balcony. I can put a trash can here. I can fill it with water.
Well, it's just possible during the winter, though.
Yeah, that's right.
But it's during the winter. It's like when it's needed most.
Yeah,
I would say, because you don't have the natural input of light.
sunshine.
Which I think is really good for your, let's say, mental health.
Absolutely.
I mean, but it's putting something in you that's could it be serotonin or something? I don't know. I don't know the chemical stuff.
Yeah.
But it's good shit. It's releasing in the body.
It is.
Of course.
I remember the first cold shower I took was so it does get very dark here, up here in the winter and in the fall. You don't see the sun for months, whatever. But I was missing the sun because I get very happy from the sun.
Yeah.
But the first time I took a cold shower, I felt like I got sun rays from the shower. Like
yeah. I mean, it's like the same feeling. It's I also get high from the sun. I can feel that during the spring. The first time I go outside, and often I play beach volleyball and I get a lot of sun exposed. I get really happy. And yeah, as you say, you that's a kind of the same thing to get when you're afterwards from an ice bath.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's there's just some sort of energy and happiness that you get from it.
Yeah.
Cool. Is there something that you wish that we would have talked about that we haven't so far?
I don't know really. It's
we've been sort of everywhere.
I mean, I tend to see the sport of beach volleyball more in another way now than I did when I was younger. When I was 25 or something, and then it was more like rock and roll, you know. It's like getting out there and show off and just play and win and stuff like this. It was more simple. Now it's more sophisticated way of course, a way of living, but also be able to play in a different way, to socialize, to play, to train with someone is a way of socialize.
Yeah,
I would say. I didn't really see it like that when I was starting. It was more like performance, winning, get the glory, which might be natural when you're young and on the way up. But if I was looking at it like that now, I probably wouldn't play.
Yeah, true. True. Do you wish that you would have gotten this sophistication earlier in your career?
I think everything has its place and time. I think it's natural, and I think it's the way it should be, maybe. But I don't think it hurts to have that perspective or hear those things when you're young and you're on the way up. But to be able to force a guy to look at it like that when they are young, kind of, I don't see that happens really.
Yeah. I think everyone has to have their own journey.
Yeah.
In a sense.
Yeah, in a sense.
It's good to tell people what might be behind the next corner in the journey, but they still have to find that corner.
Yeah. I mean, you can get pointers and influence, but you cannot really force guys. I mean, let's say you were a coach and you were getting pay and they were getting pay from the government to be a beach volleyball superstars. You cannot force them to actually think like in a certain way or something. You can give them pointers, but they have to figure out, as you say, that everybody has their own journey.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I in a sense I appreciate that also when the times we have practice together, because you have pointers for me and I take them in. Then sometimes I'm working on something in my own mind and I tell you that and you're completely fine with that.
Yeah.
It's not like you're like, hey, you can't think like that. You just recognize that I'm maybe stuck in a place in my journey.
Yeah, and also the way of how beach volleyball, the sport of beach volleyball is, you know, there is not a form. There is not just one example how you should be to be number one in the world.
Yeah.
There is not. I mean, there is certain kind of styles, and they are effective. And the sport of beach volleyball is played outside with so many different circumstances. So on any given day, you'll be able to beat someone, and the other day you lose.
Yeah.
Just because of that.
Because whoever's better at these circumstances.
Yeah. So that's also fun and excited. I mean, indoor volleyball is more static. It's not a different weather, or you have this structure of 6 people going their own with their own job to do on the court.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, beach volleyball is super multi-dimensional. Not only all the dimensions you already talked about, but on top of that, all the different weathers you can have.
Yeah.
Or play indoor beach volleyball, which is almost its own sport.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy we have this indoor beach up here, but it's more static than outside.
Yeah, it is. It is. I've always wished there would be an indoor facility with wind.
It might come in the future.
Who knows?
Might come in the future, but that would be fun.
Maybe even a big ass sunlight that you can like have in one direction, so someone has to have it in their eyes.
I mean, I think it was like a little bit of the thought of. I mean, Iksu is we have windows in the roof.
Yeah.
And we have windows in the side, so sometimes the sun is coming inside on the indoor beach.
Yeah, that's true.
But anyway, it's kind of hard to get this room that you have outside when you play with the whole atmosphere, the sun and
yeah, that's true.
The sky and stuff, you know.
That's true. And then one of the big differences is the float serves. And for me, it's annoying because you play for so many months indoor, so you sort of forget what it's like to play outdoor, and you start to question your memories of what it's like.
Okay. Yeah, I can understand it's like that for you because you haven't played for so many years, and you pretty much developed yourself indoor. Maybe. Am I right?
Or a little bit. I would say I'm a mix.
Yeah.
I'm not as much only indoor as most people are from up here.
Yeah.
But definitely had my hours indoor.
Yeah. For me, it's such. It's no problem, you know, because I played for so many years. But So it's easier for me to just very fast get outside and I'll be fine. But I had so many hours outside, so
that makes
for
sense.
so many years.
So the switches between the indoor and outdoor, it's easy.
It goes really fast for me, but it counts with the hours you have spent, maybe.
And I feel it's going faster and faster every year for me too.
Yeah.
But then again, like I know there's like outdoor weathers that I'm not too used to. Like last winter I was in Bali and we had this very strong wind from the ocean.
Yeah.
Constant. Always in the same direction and super strong. And it was like that for 2 months. And we never have that in Sweden because you just don't experience that here. And it was really good to get to practice in that for a long time and get used to it. But then again, I get back here and then I'm not really used to Swedish sort of whirlwind conditions where the wind comes from every direction.
Yeah, that's
So
right.
In a sense, you would want to practice with all the different conditions, like
Of course.
every other day.
Yeah, that'd be the dream. I mean, that what's experience is about to have played in every circumstances and weather types.
Enough to have figured them out, and also enough to be able to adapt to them quickly when you see them again, even if you haven't seen those circumstances in years.
Yeah, that's right.
Is that something you feel that you can, like if I would throw you into something you haven't seen in years now, would you?
Yeah, I guess it goes faster. I mean, that, and also it tends to be less physical when it's rough conditions. It tends to be more experience, more ball control, which in this stage of my career, it's better for me.
Yeah.
It tends to be an advantage for me.
That's right.
And I also appreciate, I mean, when it's different circumstances, it's fun.
Yeah.
And that's also key, I guess. I mean, many people just get bored and less excited when it's windy and whatever it is, you know. And that's not good.
Yeah,
you should love it, you know.
Yeah, you need to.
You need to love it, and then you tend to do good, you know. So.
You need to find it fun to adapt to these new conditions and figure out this new puzzle.
I cannot force anyone to like it, but I just tell that if you want to be good, you better like it, you know.
That makes sense. Yeah. I think that's a good tip for people out there.
But you tend to like it more if you like beach volleyball in general. I mean, it's like the deep love of the sport, you know. If you do, you like it even if it's like 20 meters per second wind.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Cool.
I do not really like rain though. I think
rain and cold.
I could be out without the rain.
Yeah. Rain in tropical weather is kind of fun when it's warm.
Okay, that's okay.
But rain and cold is not. Yeah, I'm with you on that. Also the hailstorms that we can have here. That's not too good either.
Of course, if you could choose.
Yeah. So, if someone has been listening to this podcast and they think they either want to get in contact with you afterwards or they want to follow you on Instagram for daily ice bathing inspiration.
Yeah, you start with follow me on Instagram.
Is that the place to find you?
Yeah, of course. That's where I'm. That you can find me there.
And what's the Instagram handle name?
What is it now? It's Berg_beach.
Yes,
I think.
Right.
Yeah.
I think so too.
I think so too.
I have to double check it. And if someone wants you to come to their country and coach you, then they're gonna send you a DM.
Of course. Everyone that likes beach football is my friend.
That's good. All right.
So you've been pretty cold, right?
I've been pretty cold. What about you?
Well, even though I have gloves on though, but I don't know why it feels cold, because it's just like 3-4 minus.
Yeah.
We could have 20 here, so
I didn't bring quite enough clothes.
you can borrow this if you want when you bicycle from here.
Nah, it's okay. I'm fine. But it's been a good experience. Let's see what the audio ended up like with this microphone. But I think it's going to be fine.
Maybe it's just the sound of sneezing and stuff, you know. I don't know. And sound from walking on icy roads.
Yeah, I'm slightly considerate about the steps, but I think it's going to be fine.
And we've been walking for 1.5 hours.
Yeah, we have.
Which was also a type of training.
It is.
Some fat burning stuff, and as you said in the beginning, walking is healthy.
It's probably good for your brain.
It's good for your brain, and something that you should do once in a while.
Absolutely. Let's hope that the listeners have been on a walk too.
Yeah, walk with us.
Anyway, thanks for coming onto the show, as we say.
Yeah, show must go on.
It's been a lot of fun.
Oh, thank you.
What's up, Alex here again. Hope you had a great walk with us or drive with us or whatever you decided to do while listening to this episode. And I hope you learned a thing or two, took some takeaways. I definitely did with this one. So what I always do with these episodes is that I upload them onto the podcast apps, but I also upload them onto YouTube. And on YouTube, there's a comment section. So if there's any questions or thoughts or whatever that you would want to discuss with me or others, or maybe questions to Björn, you can always go to that comment section and write your stuff down, and we can see what it leads to. So if you listen to this on a podcast app, in the episode description, you can go and find the link to the same episode on YouTube, and that's where the comment section will be. Anyway, if you enjoyed this episode, please share it to like-minded people, other volleyball friends, other volley nerds, etc. Because what happens if you do is that the show grows, and the more the show grows, the easier it becomes for me to make even more good episodes for you to learn more beach volleyball from. So really, we all win if you do that. The goal with the Learn Beach Volleyball Fast project is to really create the best content out there for someone who is interested in getting better at beach volleyball and learning the sport. So for the podcast specifically, I want to have insightful conversations with interesting people and just like make the best podcast for learners. And on the YouTube channel, I want to make the best and most accurate tutorial videos that exist. And whether I succeed with that or not, that's, I guess, up to the eye of the beholder. But I will at least relentlessly continue pursuing that goal. And all the help I can get from you guys really helps, and is going to make you be able to watch this content at this quality sooner and more. So yeah, we all win from that. Another thing that really helps is feedback, because I grow, I get better at creating this show and stuff from feedback. And well, this was a new one. It was a walking episode. So I would love to have some feedback on that. Was it distracting? Was the step sound distracting in the background, or was it maybe even nice? Did you appreciate it? I think when creating a show like this, there's like certain things you should do, but I also think certain things you should experiment with and try some new stuff, and sometimes it's going to be a good one. I've literally never ever heard about anyone creating a walking podcast, so I of course I wish it's the first in the world, who knows, but Did you like it? Did you not? Let me know. And is there something else that you think I should think about? Let me know that also in this comment section. I'm very open for feedback and thoughts, and I really want to create this project into the best one it can be. Also, subscribe to everything. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Subscribe to the podcast. Subscribe to my email list. Join my Facebook group. And just in general, tell people about the Learn Beach Volleyball Fast project if you enjoy it, because as I said, the more it grows, the more I can create for you. All right. Thanks for listening. I hope you have a great day. Talk to you soon again.